Welcome everyone to this workshop on dive planning with the electronic recreational dive planner multi-level. My name is Fabio Buitrago. I'm the course director with ROATAN Dive Academy, and I'm going to be talking in the next 30 minutes about the electronic recreational dive planner multi-level. Remember, these workshops that we are conducting right now is to use the time efficiently as we have travel restrictions and we are in quarantine, so we cannot go to those diving sites. So we can use this time to refresh the knowledge or to learn some of the skills and how to apply techniques and tools to actual diving circumstances. So in this case, we're going to be talking about the eRDPml. All the information that I'm going to be talking about is contained on the Encyclopedia of Recreational Diving, and there specifically on page 562 and 563. So if you want to just grab your encyclopedia and follow along, there's lots of information on how the tables, the RDP were made, how many compartments they used for building, for creating the recreational dive planner, and there's also lots of information on the decompression theory behind the numbers that we see on the planner. Okay, so let's get started, and for beginning, let me say that the physical eRDPml, as we knew it before, is discontinued, so this is not being produced anymore, it's no longer being produced. Now what we have is a digital version that comes with all the Dive Master Crew Packs. So whenever you buy your Dive Master Crew Pack, you're going to get a code in which you can download the electronic recreational dive planner multi-level, and you can install it in your phone and you can just mirror it on the screen, so we can have the eRDPml here for us to use for the workshop. Okay, at the right of the eRDPml we have three buttons on the digital version. We have imperial and metric, obviously for selecting the units in which we're going to be working. It is exactly the same to work in meters or in feet, but in this case I'm going to work in feet. On top of the right row, what we have is the rules. So if you click on rules, you're going to get all the special rules that apply to diving. Those are related to safety stops, decompression stops, flying after diving, diving at altitude, pressure groups, W, X, Y, and Z. All that information that we find also on the back of the table itself. Right, it's right there on the digital version. So I'm going to select now Imperial, so we can start with the exercises. First, let me read the question. A group of divers want to make two dives. The first one is going to be at 93 feet for 18 minutes, followed by a surface interval of 48 minutes. The second dive will be at 62 feet for 28 minutes. What's the final pressure group? So we're going to select on the mode button. We can go on the three different modes. We have dive planning, surface interval, and we also have maximum depth. Okay, so in this case we're going to select dive planning and press enter. Is it a multi-level dive? No, it is not a multi-level dive. So we're going to press no. Is it the first dive? Yes, it is going to be the first dive. Okay, so it is asking me now for the depth of the first dive. Just to follow along, I'm going to write a profile here. So we have two dives, right? The first one is going to be at 93 feet for 18 minutes, followed by 48 minutes at the surface, and then a second dive to 62 feet for 28 minutes. Okay, we want to know what's the ending pressure group. So we're going to enter the first depth, which is 93 feet. So 93, and then I press enter, and I have a no decompression limit, NDL, of 22 minutes. And they want to dive 18 minutes, so I'm going to press enter, and now it's going to ask me what's the actual bottom time, ABT. The actual bottom time is the time that the divers are planning to stay at that depth. So I'm going to put 18, which is the planned time, so 18. I press enter, and the pressure group after dive is going to be letter L. I'm going to write that L right here at the end of the first dive. Then I press enter, and it's going to ask me what's the time at the surface, and the time is going to be dialed in as hours and minutes. So in this case it's 48 minutes, so no hours, so I'm just going to put 48. You can see 48 minutes, and then I press enter, and my pressure group after the surface interval is going to be letter E. I'm going to write that right there. Now I press enter again, and it's going to ask me what's the second depth. In this case it's 62 feet. So I'm going to press 62 and press enter. The adjusted no decompression limit, the maximum time that divers can stay at 62 feet following this profile, would be 29 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to press enter, and now it's asking me what's the actual bottom time, which is the 28 minutes that they are planning to dive. Okay, so I'm going to put 28 to 8 and press enter. I need to do a safety stop, so I'm going to write down on my diving profile the safety stop right there at the end of the second dive. I press enter, and I get the pressure group at the end of the dive. It's going to be letter T. And that's a way in which I can use the electronic recreational dive planner to plan 2 dives and know what would be my pressure. Let's say now that we have a group of divers that are going to do a second dive, right? But we do not know the information of the first dive they made. So we're going to read the question. A group of divers is planning to do a second dive after 59 minutes at the surface. The first dive ended on a pressure group P. If they plan to dive on the second dive to 65 feet, what is the maximum time allowed? Okay, so I'm going to draw a diving profile as well. So we're going to have the first dive is going to end as letter P. Then this group of divers is going to stay at the surface for 59 minutes. And then they want to descend on the second dive to 65 feet. And we want to know what's the maximum time they can stay at this depth. Okay? So for this, I'm going to reset the calculator first. So now I'm going to select mode. In this case, it's dive planning. So I press enter. Is it a multi-level dive? No, it is not a multi-level dive. Is it the first dive? No, it is not the first dive. We do not know what they did on the first dive. So I'm going to press no. And then it asks me if the pressure group that I have is after the surface interval, yes or no. And I have the pressure group, letter P, before the surface interval. So it is not after, so I'm going to press no. So now it asks me to what's the pressure group before the surface interval, that is letter P. So I'm going to press letter P, which is the button for number 7. Then I press enter. Right, now it's asking me what's the surface interval. In this case, we know it's 59 minutes. So I'm going to press 59. You can see 59 minutes, and then I press enter. And the pressure group is going to be letter F. And I'm going to write that at the end of the surface interval. Press enter again, and now it's going to ask me what's the depth of the second dive. And that we know is 65 feet. So we press enter, and the adjusted no decompression limit, the maximum time these divers can dive at 65 feet after doing the previous profile, is 28 minutes. And that would be the answer to the question. Okay, so now we know how to use the eRDPml to plan a second dive without having the information of the first dive, only the pressure group. Okay? What happens if you have now 3 dives? Okay, so let me read a question with 3 dives. A group of advanced divers want to do 3 dives. The first one at 102 feet for 8 minutes, followed by 35 minutes of surface interval, and then a second dive to 71 feet for 24 minutes, followed by 39 minutes at the surface. And the third dive would be at 55 feet for 32 minutes. What is the ending pressure group? Okay, so I'm going to reset the eRDPml. Okay, we're going to select the mode. In this case, it's going to be dive planning. Is it a multi-level? Not yet. We're going to do multi-level in a couple of minutes. So I'm going to press no. Is it the first dive? Yes, it's the first dive of the 3 they're going to make. So before we enter the information, I'm just going to write my diving profile here. So I have all the information that I need before I start plugging in the numbers. So the first dive is at 102 feet for 8 minutes. Followed by 35 minutes at the surface and a second dive to 71 feet for 24 minutes, followed by a 39-minute surface interval, and then a third dive to 55 feet for 32 minutes. And we want to know what's the ending pressure group. Okay, so now I can start plugging in the numbers. So the depth for the first dive is 102 feet. 102, you know the compression limit is 16. I press enter, and I'm going to now dial the actual bottom time, which is 8 minutes. So 8, press enter, safety stop, I'm going to write it right there, press enter again, and the pressure group is letter D. I press enter again, and now it's going to ask me what's the surface interval that we know is 35 minutes. So 35, press enter again, the pressure group is going to be letter B. Now I press enter again, second depth, 71 feet. So 71, enter, adjusted no decompression limit of 27 minutes. They want to dive 24, so they are within the limits. So ABT is going to be 24. I press enter again, another safety stop that is going to be written right there. Press enter again, and now the pressure group at the end of the second dive is letter R. That's going to be written right there. Then the surface interval is going to be, in this case, 39 minutes. So 39, press enter. The pressure group after the surface interval is letter J. Now I press enter again, and it's going to ask me what's the third depth, which we know is 55 minutes. So 55, and press enter. Adjusted no decompression limit of 36 minutes, and they're planning to dive only 32. So I press enter, and now ABT is going to be the 32 minutes they are planning for. Another safety stop. Then I press enter again, and my pressure group after dive is going to be letter B. Okay, and that's a way in which I can use the eRDPml to plan multiple dives. And I could continue going if I press, this is not the first dive, I can do 2 more or 3 more, right? And just put in the pressure group of the previous dives, and then just fill in the information and continue on. Okay, so there is another mode that you can use the eRDPml on, right? Which is the surface interval. How to find the minimum time that you have to wait out of the water to do a second dive. Okay, so in this case, we're going to have a group of divers that is planning 2 dives. The first dive is going to be at 87 feet for 19 minutes, and the second dive at 64 feet for 32 minutes. What is the minimum time they have to wait out of the water? Okay, so why would they want to do that? Let's say they found the wreck on the first dive, and they went to the deepest part of the wreck. And on the second dive, they want to go back to the wreck because it was so impressive. They want to go back, but they're going to stay on top of the wreck, on the shallowest part of the wreck, right? And they want to know what would be the shortest time they have to wait to do the second dive. So in this case, I'm going to write down a diving profile, and I'm going to put all the information. So the first dive is going to be at 87 feet for 19 minutes. And the second dive is going to be at 64 for 32 minutes. And I want to know what is the minimum time at the surface. So I'm going to reset the eRDPml, and now I'm going to select not dive planning, but I'm going to select surface interval. I'm going to press enter. Is it the first dive? Yes, it's the first dive, so I press yes. And now it's asking me what's depth number 1 that we know is 87 feet. So 87, enter, no decompression limit of 25 minutes, then I press enter again, and it's asking me now what's the ABT1, which is the actual bottom time of the first dive, and we know is 19 minutes. So 19, press enter, and now instead of asking me what's the surface interval, this is what we're looking for, it's asking me what's the second depth. that we know is 64 feet. And the adjusted nautical compression limit would be 40 minutes. And they are planning to dive only 32. So I press enter again, and now the actual bottom time is 32 minutes. So 3, 2, press enter, safety stop that I'm going to write right there. Then I press enter again, and the minimum surface interval is 1 hour. You can see 01H, 1 hour, 00 minutes. Okay, that's another way in which I can use the electronic recreational dive planner to find the time I have to wait on the boat before doing a second or a third or a fourth dive, depending on what you're planning. Okay, let's do one more, but in this case we're going to do one dive that is going to have different levels, and that is called the multi-level dive. Okay, so this group of advanced divers is planning a multi-level dive with the first level at 93 feet for 8 minutes, the second level at 70 feet for 17 minutes, and the third level for 45 feet for 29 minutes. What's the ending pressure group? Okay, so I'm going to make a diving profile here, which is going to be slightly different, because now we have 1, 2, 3 levels as we ascend, right? The first level is going to be at 93 feet. So I'm going to write down the depth here, and the time is 8 minutes at the first level. Then they're going to ascend to 70 feet. So that's the second level. And they're going to stay there for 12 minutes. And the third level is going to be at 45 feet. And that's going to be for 29 minutes. We want to know what's the ending pressure group. Okay, so going to reset the eRDPml. I'm going to select the mode dive planning, and I'm going to press enter. Is it a multi-level dive? Yes. Now we're going to press yes. Is it the first dive? Yes, it is the first dive. And now it's going to ask me what is level 1, which is the first depth. We know is 93 feet, so 93 as level 1. 93, and then I press enter, and the no decompression limit is going to be 22 minutes, but they want to dive only 8 minutes. So I'm going to press enter, and the ABT is going to be 8 minutes. 8 and enter. Pressure group after level 1 is going to be letter C, and I'm going to write that here, and I like to make a circle around it so I don't mistake the letters and the numbers. Then I press enter again, and it's going to ask me what's level 2. Level 2 is 70 feet. So I'm going to press 70, enter. The multi-level limit, the maximum time they can dive on the second level would be 23 minutes. But they are planning to dive only 12. So I'm going to press enter, and I'm going to now introduce the actual bottom time, which is 12 minutes. So 1, 2, and then I press enter, and the pressure group after level 2 is letter K. And I'm going to write that here, and I'm going to make a circle around it so I don't mistake the letters and the numbers. Then I press enter again, and now it's asking me what's level 3. So level 3 is 45 feet, so I'm going to press 45, then I press enter, and I have a multi-level limit of 49 minutes. They are planning to dive only 29. So I press enter, and I'm going to now dial the 29 minutes they are planning to dive, and press enter. We need to do a safety stop that I'm going to write right there at the end of the dive, and then when I press enter, I'm going to get a pressure group of S, letter S. That would be the pressure group at the end of the dive, and now we have used the electronic recreational dive planner multi-level to plan a multi-level dive. Okay? So with this exercise, we have gotten to the end of the workshop. I hope it has refreshed the knowledge, or it has helped you understand how to use the electronic recreational dive planner. And remember, these workshops are for using the time efficiently as we are either in quarantine or with travel restrictions that we cannot travel to diving destinations. If you have any questions on the courses that we teach, please go onto our webpage, www.roatandiveacademy.com, and you can find all the information on the professional courses that we teach. And if you have any questions or you want to contact me directly, you can write me an email to gopro@roatandiveacademy.com, and I will try to answer any questions that you may have. Also, remember that these videos are going to live in our YouTube channel, ROATAN Dive Academy, and you can later download them, share them, or refresh the knowledge that we have been working on during this workshop. So thank you for getting to the end of the workshop, and see you next time.